Hi guys, and welcome to tonight's class. This video is jam-packed full of details. If you clicked on that thumbnail, you know we're talking stitch braids today. So it is going to be on the long side, so we're just going to jump right into it. I'm working on a live model today. As you can see, she has a big, beautiful, full head of hair, and I asked her to come stretched or blown out for this style. For those of you who are dealing with coarser or thicker hair textures, it is ideal to at least get it as straight as possible or press the hair so that you can get a nice sleek look. But in this case, her hair texture was just fine enough for just a simple blowout. The hair we're going to be using for this style was sent to me by a company called SAC Hair, based out of Africa. I will leave their details in the description box below. They sent me a couple of packages of their Isa hair or Isa hair. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but this is what it looks like, and we ended up using 2 packs of this hair. The style we're going for today is a low set genie style look. With all braided ponytails, I always start with an anchor braid to act as the foundation, if you will. Having an anchor braid helps with keeping the parting even and provides a base so the ponytail doesn't move from its position. Since I'm only planning to do 4 stitch braids gathered to the back, I'm going to insert 2 braids in the ponytail in the back to add a little bit more fullness. Also for this look, I'm going to be doing the tree braid effect where I'm going to be releasing a few strands of hair as I go down each braid. This is going to play up the curl pattern of this hair and add a lot of fullness to the ponytail. For the ends, I just did slip knots at the end and sealed it with a little bit of nail glue. My product of choice today is of course Shine and Jam, but if you're dealing with a coarser hair texture or you need some extra hold, the Even Edge Control is my other go-to fave. So whatever you choose to use is dependent on your client's hair texture and how much hold you need. In this case, her hair texture is on the finer side, so I don't need a whole lot of product to get it to do what I need it to do. I'm going to start by slicking down her edges with the product, and I'm being careful to swoop her edges down because I don't want to braid all of her edges into tiny little pieces of braid. I want her edges to swoop down nicely so they're not pulling. And then I'm also going to pre-part where I want these braids to go. This is very helpful in the stitching process because you want those lines as clean as possible. And as you can see, I'm using the product on the part lines, and I'm being very careful with where the hair is being placed in the parting. And I'm just using the product and combing it through with my comb. But I also go in with a small brush or edge brush to lay everything down. I also want to brush the product as close to the root as possible all the way through that section of hair. So if you remember a few weeks ago, I posted a video on how to do a feed in. I'm essentially doing a feed in the exact same way here. However, I am being very careful about how much hair I pick up with each rotation. So that's really the difference between a stitch braid and a regular braid. Stitch braids have a very defined line of demarcation where you pick up the hair along the line of the cornrow. As opposed to a regular cornrow, you're kind of just grabbing at hairs and going down the braid. So what I'm doing here is I am showing you first one technique of 3 that I'm going to show you guys today. This technique, I'm using my nails to assist me in picking up the strands of hair. I braid with nails all the time. Actually, it helps me a lot with parting and separation of the hair. But if you don't have nails, don't worry. I will show you 2 other ways to get this job done. And quick shout out to otiff.com for hooking me up with some fancy new nail colors to try out. Their nail lacquers are not only stunning, but are 8-free vegan, made with organic plant-based ingredients. This is truly impressive considering I've been braiding hair all week with this color with no chipping or fading. So if you're looking for a cruelty-free nail color that lasts, head over to otiff.com. You definitely won't be disappointed. Anyways, back to the tutorial. A couple of things to consider when you're doing stitch braids. Remember, each section of hair you pick up should be a clean, precise section. There shouldn't be any stray hairs laying down the middle or the sides. And when you grab with your grip hand, there shouldn't be any stray hairs as well. So make sure that your lines are clean when you cut across. Prep is also super imperative to this process. To make it as least complicated as possible, have your braiding hair already set up on the side. You know that braiding rack that I always show you guys? I leave it in the description box below all the time. Make sure you have different size pieces available to you so you can adjust your sizing as you go down. Also, when adding your hair, I find it holds better to part your stitch first, then add the hair. When you do this, the braiding hair goes over the natural hair, helping the style hold better and tucking easier. If you add in the hair first, then part your stitch, the natural hair will go on top of the braiding hair. This is going to make the style reliant on the natural hair to pull it together and also make tucking a little bit more challenging. So you'll notice the difference if you're doing it one way or the other. I have found in my case that it works better to stitch first, then add the hair. Lastly, adding too much hair will hide the stitches. The whole point of the stitch braid is so that you can see the stitches. If you're adding too much hair, the braid will become too bulky and you won't see all the work you just put in. So besides making sure you take your time with this process, those are really just the 4 main tips I have for you guys. So I'm going to continue doing this first braid in real time so you can see exactly how I'm placing the hair in, stitching it out, all of that good stuff. And then I will come back a little bit later and discuss the 2 other ways to achieve this look. So another way that helps with the stitching process is to pre-part your stitch sections. This works especially well for thicker and coarser texture hair, just simply because there can be a lot of stray hairs hanging out there. And it could be, especially if you're doing large sections, it can be a little challenging to grip each section. So I'm just taking my comb and I'm stitching out the sections where I want them to go. And I'm not combing it back down so that when I go over that section, I know exactly where to grab it. Last but not least, I still tend to use this method, especially when I get to the left side of the head, because my left hand is my stronger grip hand. I will use the assistance of a comb to part out the section on each side. In my case, I'm only doing it on my right side because that's my weaker side. So I'm going to show you guys in real time how I go about doing that as well. So we've approached the end of the style here. I'm going to finish up that last braid, and to smooth out the hair, I'm going with my paddle brush to smooth out the curls here. And then before I get to styling her ponytail, I'm going to set her stitch braids, her cornrows at the top. I'm going to set it with some setting mousse and tie her hair up. This is going to help hold the style in place longer and set all of her natural hair down so she doesn't experience as much flyaways. Lastly, I always like to finish off with a little bit of Gots to Be hairspray. This always locks everything in place. So that's it for the stitch braid tutorial, you guys. This style came out way better than I expected. This was a creative challenge I gave myself to keep me on my toes. Special thanks again to SAC Hair for supplying this gorgeous hair for this look. To maintain this style, she's just going to tie up her edges with a satin scarf and tuck her ponytail into a satin bonnet. Thanks you guys for tuning in. Hit that like button if you found this tutorial helpful, and let us know in the comments below what method works for you to achieve the stitch look. Class is in session every Monday, so hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. As always, thanks so much for stopping by. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.